Hey guys, welcome back to Margot Watches Movies. My name is Jake Margot. Tonight it's episode 3 of my Throwback Tuesday series. It's late in the day. I wish I had a Naked Gun review up this weekend, but uh, stuff happens in life. Sometimes it's of your own making, and I've been dealing with some personal stuff that is my fault. So I needed a comedy, I needed a laugh. I'll have a review for The Naked Gun up later this week. I've heard really good things about it, so I thought, in the spirit of that, for this review, I would go ahead and review my favorite comedy of all time. If you've been paying attention to the backdrop of my Blu-ray, it is 2008's Tropic Thunder, directed by Ben Stiller, starring so many people. Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., and one of his greatest roles. Oscar nominated for this role, actually, and he should have won had he not gone up against Heath Ledger's The Joker, winning a posthumous Oscar. May he rest in peace. You have Jack Black, you have Matthew McConaughey, you have the most hilariously unhinged Tom Cruise performance of his career. This is just what comedy should be. It is a biting, sharp satire, absolutely gutting Hollywood, um, endearingly, I might add, but really picking apart all the inner mechanisms of movie making. And what they're kind of riffing on here is like this Apocalypse Now. If you're familiar with that film, it had a really strenuous production. I'm sure there's like a production hell from Critical Drinker. There's a documentary almost as good as the movie, but as we get into Tropic Thunder, this is one of those films I watched when I was a edgy teenager, and it's probably the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie. And I think it's aged really well as comedies have become neutered and tame and less funny and less frequently made as the years have progressed. This movie has really stood the test of time. And yes, the most important thing about a comedy is making you laugh. And this movie makes you laugh almost every scene, really every scene to me. I just think it's constant belly laughs, just top comedic actors and quality actors at the height of their game. But besides that, the satire in this film, the direction from Ben Stiller, how quotable it is, the cinematography is even good, and the whole like inside baseball aspect of this film being made, seeing the egos on display of all the actors, seeing a character actor be spoofed, kind of Daniel Day-Lewis-esque in Kirk Lazarus, played by Robert Downey Jr. A dude playing a dude disguised as another dude who goes in blackface, which the movie is smart enough to add how preposterous and ridiculous that is. And they use Brandon T. Jackson's Al Pacino, a rapper hired to star in this war epic, as kind of the commentary to point out the preposterousness of it. They had one good part for a black man and they gave it to Crocodile Dundee. This movie is just so quotable. Jack Black, I think, as Jeff Portnoy, an actor famous for like fart movies, is just so funny in this. He as like this addict who's out in the jungle when everything goes wrong, tied up to a tree, going through withdrawals. The whole campfire scene is just like one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in a film. But like really, Robert Downey Jr. here, again, Oscar nominated, is just it's a work of art performance. Everything about his performance in this movie is just pitch perfect. It's been memed into oblivion. People have tried to cancel him, as younger generations have found this film on Twitter and other places. So I just think the legacy of this movie is really long lasting. And I know like there's people, depending on your age gap, you might lean more towards some of those 80s comedies like Stripe or Caddyshack. You have 90s comedies, the early 2000s. This era of film has a lot of classics with Anchorman and really all the Judd Apatows and uh, Adam McKay, Will Ferrell collaborations. Like, there's a lot to choose from. But for me, I think this is always going to be my favorite comedy. It's just one of those films that stick with you as a teenager when you first see it. And it's just like a slice of heaven and laughs. And yes, the film is offensive in some ways, but it walks a very tight rope to where it's always tongue in cheek, and it's always leaning on the side of humorous first, just being like gross. And yes, this is a movie, as many essays and other reviews, like, would they be able to make this film today? Even Ben Stiller himself has said no. Robert Downey Jr. has said no. Um, and then I think the other aspect of this film that works so brilliantly, and this is very well documented, is the addition of Tom Cruise, who's kind of playing like this Harvey Weinstein parody caricature of a movie studio executive, this hot-headed, angry man. And he is so hysterical in this. Most people don't even realize, if they're not really in tune to movies, that this was Tom Cruise until the end credits. And what he adds and brings to the movie, something again that it's been discussed with, like, in interviews with Ben Stiller. I brought him the script, and Tom said to me, "You're missing the movie studio aspect. It wasn't in the original script. It was all Tom Cruise's idea." And he said, "I'll do this movie. I'll play the studio head, but on two conditions. I want to have fat, hairy hands, and I want to dance." And Ben Stiller was a little incredulous, but he made it happen. And the results of this are just pure magic. Uh, like the scene of Tom Cruise with Flaming Dragon. "This is Flaming Dragon." "Okay, Flaming Dragon, fuck face. Why don't you take a big step back?" And you guys know the rest. Come on. But this is just movie magic to me. And the rating I'm going to give it, I want to make this clear. It's within the realms of comedy. I wouldn't compare this to A Godfather or The Social Network or 12 Angry Men. But as far as comedies go, I think, to me, it's a flawless movie. I think everyone in the cast is utilized. I didn't even mention Matthew McConaughey playing Ben Stiller's agent. The fake movie trailers at the start with with Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire as these priests. Everything about this movie is just pitch perfect to me. So with that being said, um, needing some laughs, it delivered. And I'm going to give it a transcendent masterpiece. Yes, Tropic Thunder, to me, is the greatest comedy ever made. It's one of my favorite movies. It's a movie I can always rewatch. And, if you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. Hopefully it gives you as much joy as it's given me over the years. And, sorry for the late review. Again, I'll probably have a Naked Gun review up later this week. I'm trying to make it work between work and other things going on. But, yeah, so that's all from Margot Watches Movies. My name's Jake Margot. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.